Come here.
In 2006, friends Patrick Zweig and Art Donaldson won the junior boys doubles title at the US Open. Their friendship is so close that they live together, and their main concern is tennis and becoming professionals in this field. They happen to watch a match where one rising tennis phenomenon, Tashi, enters the field to compete. At the very beginning, Art and Patrick are fascinated by her. During the match, they only focus on her, and both watch the tennis prodigy with curiosity and awe. Tashi shows amazing abilities and defeats her opponent with high determination and skill. Adidas organized a celebration for this victory to thank her as a sponsor, and Art and Patrick participated.
Oh God, look.
They lock on to Tashi as she dances and seems wonderfully drawn to her, falling in love at first sight. When they approach her, Tashi recognizes them. They try to start talking to her on any pretext and praise her for her performance. Moments later, Tashi has to say goodbye to them for taking pictures with her trophies.
Let's go.
Yeah, let's go.
They meet again after the party ends. They decide to go to the beach, and on this date with Tashi, Art and Patrick spend some memorable moments with her. Even though most of their conversations are focused on tennis, both of them are imagining how to propose to her. Tashi describes the importance of tennis in her life and expresses her desire to compete at the professional level, believing that Art and Patrick know nothing about tennis. Art mentions Tashi's scream after her victory and admires her performance, claiming he had never seen anything like it. Tashi says it's late and she must go, but they both want her number. She says she doesn't want to ruin their friendship. Patrick asks Tashi to join them in talking about tennis and drinking beer, giving her information about where they are staying at the hotel. Tashi leaves them laughing without showing her agreement. Art and Patrick became very infatuated with her. While they are talking in their messy room about whether she is coming, Tashi knocks on the door and surprises them. Later, Art and Patrick inform her about their teenage sexual memories, each part of which makes Tashi laugh out loud. Their beer runs out, and Tashi sits on the bed and asks them to join her. Their hearts skip a beat, and they rush to join her and experience Threesome's kisses for a second. Tashi says she has to go, and when they ask for her number, she says she will watch their game tomorrow and give her number to whoever wins. The fateful duel starts between them tomorrow, and after a tough competition, Patrick manages to defeat Art. Considering the importance of tennis to Tashi, it is obvious that she chooses Patrick. Later, Patrick and Art played college tennis at Stanford University. He gives a clear signal to Art with the ball and racket that he is sleeping with Tashi. Patrick turns pro and begins a long-distance relationship with Tashi. Art visits one of Tashi's practices, and after the end of her practice, he suggests that they go to a restaurant for lunch. Art tells Tashi that Patrick doesn't love her, which upsets her. Considering her importance in tennis, she claims that she doesn't want anyone to love her.
Thank you for lunch, Art.
When Patrick visits Stanford, Art similarly suggests to him that Tashi does not take the relationship seriously, and he seems intent on ruining it.
Are we doing the same thing?
I'm not doing anything.
Tashi and Patrick prepare to sleep together after a long time, but moments later, they have an argument over her attempts to coach Patrick in tennis, and Patrick skips her match as a result. Patrick believes he considers her his rank and does not like to be a member of one of her fan clubs. They talk arrogantly about each other, causing Patrick to ignore her and even refuse to come to see her match. He informs Art about this via text. Tashi's extreme anger during the game causes her to tear her ACL. Art immediately appears above her and accompanies her to the hospital. Patrick comes to see her, but Tashi angrily asks him to leave. Also, Art sides with her, ending his friendship with Patrick. Over time, Art tries to help Tashi recover. Still, her injury is so serious that it seems she will not be able to resume her tennis career, which makes her very sad and frustrated. 3 years have passed since that incident, and in 2009, Tashi unexpectedly surprised him with her presence in one of Art's training, who is now almost a professional tennis player. In the restaurant, they talk a little about tennis, but a little later, the thing that brings back the most memories of the past is Art's feelings for Tashi. Art doesn't answer whether he still loves her, but he asks her to accept his coaching. Eventually, Tashi reconnected with Art and became his coach and girlfriend. In 2019, Tashi and Art are a wealthy power couple with a little daughter named Lily, who Tashi's mother takes care of most of the time. Art is only one U.S. Open title away from a career Grand Slam, but has struggled due to injury and age. As a coach, Tashi does his best to keep Art professional, but his frequent losses have frustrated her. Art admits he has lost his confidence, but Tashi asks him to regain it and tries to instill high spirits in her husband. She enters Art as a wild card in a challenger event in New Rochelle, New York, hoping to boost his confidence and return him to form. On the other hand, Patrick has become a penniless and poor tennis player who doesn't even have money to rent a room. He tries to convince the motel receptathist to give him a room, but she disagrees, and Patrick has to spend the night in his car as usual.
We need a card that works.
He, who is scraping by on winnings from the lower circuits, also happens to enter the New Rochelle Challenger. Early in the morning, one of the club officials wakes him up and asks him to move his vehicle, but Patrick says he came to compete in Challenger. Hours later, he goes to register, and because he is starving, he stares at the breakfast of the lady in charge of registration. She shares her donut with Patrick and explains that she cannot pay the check early due to his financial problems. She talks about the presence of a professional player in this tournament. Patrick is shocked when she shows him the racket with Art's picture on it. Since Patrick only has $70 in his account, he decides to have a relationship with a girl to earn money for his hotel stay through her. While on a date with a girl, Patrick accidentally sees Tashi looking at him. And regardless of the conversation with the girl he is dating, all his attention is focused on Tashi. Moments later, they meet, and Tashi expresses her displeasure at his presence in this challenger. She believes Art may think she deliberately convinced him to participate in this tournament. Art and Patrick will only face each other if both of them reach the finals, and this has greatly worried Tashi, so she asks Patrick to withdraw from this tournament. Starting at opposite ends of the seating, Art and Patrick advance through the brackets until they face each other in the final. A few days later, Patrick meets Tashi again in the hotel lobby and informs her that he is staying in the room of the girl he went on a date with. He tells her he needs to talk to her. Sensing Art's disillusionment, Patrick asks Tashi to coach him to a last winning season, but he receives a slap from her.
I want you to be my coach. What do you think?
Instead, she insults Patrick, who still has to sleep in his car at night, and firmly asks him to give up the challenger. Tashi does not accept his request, but she keeps the paper with his phone number on it before leaving. The day before the final match, Patrick attempts to reconnect with Art, but Art rebuffs him. Art thinks Patrick is trying to break his mind, but he says he has no such intention. While talking to Patrick, Art remembers a bad memory from the past. In 2011, Tashi and Art were engaged, but an unexpected thing happened at the Atlanta Open when Art's career was increasing. One night at the hotel, Patrick suddenly appears and stares at Tashi from the window. He joins her, and in disbelief, they both lean to kiss. At that moment, Art gets out of the elevator and sees them talking to each other. Art gives an autograph to one of his fans for a second, and when he turns back, he realizes they are gone. Back to the now, Art tries to humiliate Patrick and points out that he doesn't care anymore about him. However, Patrick says that he really misses playing with him, but Art leaves him indifferently. The evening before the finals, Art informs Tashi that he plans to retire at the end of the season, whether he wins or not, because he believes it's embarrassing to still compete at 40. Tashi reluctantly accepts, but says, "I will leave you if you don't win tomorrow."
If you don't win tomorrow, I'll leave you.
I'm playing for both of us, Tashi. I know that.
They kiss each other, and Art relaxes on Tashi's legs, thinking deeply about the future. That night, Tashi secretly meets with Patrick to ask him to throw the match to Art, claiming it boosts his confidence and saves their marriage. Her request disgusts Patrick, and he tells her she is a real loser. They have an intense argument, and Tashi asks him to pull over. She exits the car and returns just as she is about to leave him, and it becomes clear that she still has feelings for Patrick. She and Patrick kiss, and after sleeping together, Patrick promises to throw the match to Art, and Tashi asks him to do it so that Art doesn't feel like his victory is fake. She returns to the hotel, notices that Art has fallen asleep beside their daughter, Lily, and stares at them regretfully. On finals day, Tashi prepares Art for this confrontation and watches them play with a lot of stress. Patrick wins the first set, and Art wins the second set.
Advantage, Dwight.
please.
This battle transcends sport. It becomes a raw, physical confrontation with a past they cannot outrun. As Art takes the lead late in the final game, Patrick begins to throw the match through double faults. However, he stops short of losing and instead signals that he had slept with Tashi, using Art's serve tick. Art, stunned, leaves the game and allows Patrick to score until they are again tied. Art and Patrick furiously trade ground strokes during the tiebreak, but start smiling as they continue. The rally intensifies until both jump for a volley at the net. As Art slams the ball over, he collides with Patrick over the net and the two embrace. Tashi leaps from her seat and screams. Despite years of estrangement, Art and Patrick may be rediscovering a connection forged on the tennis courts of their youth. It is clear how much it meant for them not to win over the other, but to be back together, all of them.